Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today to learn about Rocky Mountaineer's Rockies to the Red Rocks. I am Beverly McLean. I'm Covington's social media director and travel blogger. We also have some of our Covington vacation advisors joining us on the line today. We do have a big group, so your microphones are going to be muted to prevent any background noise. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box and we will address them at the end. If your microphone is not muted, please go ahead and mute yourself. Now let's get to the main event. Today our presenter is Stacy Nicoletos. Stacy spent most of her career in the financial services industry, but 10 years ago, she decided to work for the travel industry. She's very passionate about travel and says that the career change was the best decision she ever made. She's been working for Rocky Mountaineer for about 4 years now and believes it's one of the most unique, life-changing vacations she has ever taken and hopes that you will feel the same. Welcome, Stacy, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to turn it over to you now, and we can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Beverly, for that fantastic introduction. It's absolutely true. I actually used to work for a brokerage firm in Richmond, Virginia. So I lived in Richmond for 13 years. And then it's been 6 years ago now, I moved to Washington, D.C. I live just right outside of the capital, but moving back to Virginia, but just across the river. So, but I want to thank everybody for welcoming me into your homes today. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what exactly does Rocky Mountaineer do? And hopefully you can tell by the picture that we provide these amazing rail vacations traveling through the Rockies, both in Western Canada and now here in the US. And you're now probably wondering, well, Stacy, do I sleep on the train? And the answer is no. And there's really two reasons for that. First of all, we want to make sure that you sleep in a comfortable bed at night. That is very near and dear to my heart, being that I traveled so much. But we also don't want you to really miss out on any of the stunning scenery along the way. You know, many of the sites, they're not accessible by road. So it's really giving you this unique access to not only those majestic snow-capped mountains, but also just some beautiful rivers, rugged canyons, and desert rock formations along the way. Last year, we were to celebrate our 30th anniversary. And as you can expect, we really weren't able to celebrate like we had expected to. Back in 1990, we launched with daylight-only rail vacations throughout the Canadian Rockies, with routes traveling from Vancouver, which is our headquarters, to quaint mountain towns like Jasper, Banff, and Lake Louise. We always had our sights on expanding our unique luxury rail vacations. And I have to say, the one positive thing that came out of COVID, because I do believe that we all need a silver lining, is that it helped us to gain speed to launch our newest route here in the US, which is what my focus is going to be for today's presentation. So I'm very proud to be announcing our newest rail route, Rockies to the Red Rocks. Now this will take you from Denver, Colorado to Moab, Utah over 2 unforgettable days, featuring these awe-inspiring sights of the Colorado Rockies, but also the remarkable desert rock formations of Moab. For our inaugural season, which is this year, we will be operating from August 15th through October the 23rd, with 40 departures spread over 10 weeks. It is a preview sale, so we only have a limited capacity, but seats, they are on sale right now. Welcome aboard, everybody. So I'm gonna kind of talk like in a filter. I'm going to talk about the train itself and the stellar service that you will receive. I'm then going to narrow it down and talk about the route and the breathtaking sights you'll see all along the way. Then I'm going to talk about the sightseeing activities that we include once you're off the train and in the Southwest. You know, one of the things that I absolutely love about Rocky Mountaineer is we not only give you the trip of a lifetime traveling on our luxury trains, but we also include these memorable activities off the train as well. So let me start by talking about the train itself, which I lovingly call Rocky. Now, you will be traveling in our Silverleaf rail car. And hopefully you can see from the pictures that they have these large windows so that you have truly unobstructed views of the amazing scenery. On board, we're going to have some fabulous hosts, and they wear a couple of different hats. So first of all, they're there to ensure that you're having just the most fabulous, amazing vacation possible. But they're also there providing commentary and storytelling. So our trains travel fairly slow, about maybe 30 miles an hour. So it really does give you this ample opportunity to take in those magnificent Colorado Rockies, breathtaking canyons, and some awesome wildlife as well. As soon as you're on board the Glass Dome coach, your job is really simple. It's just to sit back in your large reclining seat, gaze out of the huge oversized windows, and truly prepare to soak up some incredible scenery with our host attending to your every need. Now, all meals and drinks are included when you're traveling with us on the train, and all of our food is phenomenal. It's locally sourced, so for here, it's going to have like a Western flair, but it is prepared fresh. So if you do have any dietary restrictions, this is where you just need to contact your local Covington Travel consultant, and then they'll make sure that, you know, all your meals are prepared to your whatever restrictions that you have. Now, drinks are also included, and that's both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. And this is what I say. You're on vacation, it's quite all right to indulge. Meals will be plated to your preference and delivered to you at your seat, which really does further enhance that relaxing atmosphere. Now, you can further enhance your onboard experience with our Silverleaf Plus service. Now, this is going to include all the benefits of our exceptional Silverleaf service, but it also will give you exclusive access to our newly renovated lounge car, which features signature cocktails and an elevated dining experience with an additional course during select meals. But a thing to note, there's only a limited number of Silverleaf Plus spaces available, as the lounge car only holds 30 guests. And for our preview sale, there's only going to be one lounge car per departure assigned to Silverleaf Plus. I will say this, I just got off of a sales meeting yesterday. We launched this route about 30 days ago, and we're already at 70% capacity for our Silverleaf Plus service. So if this is something that you're interested in, I would definitely recommend you're booking your seats now. Now, again, you're not sleeping on the train, as Rocky Mountaineer travels only the daylight hours. So you really don't miss out on any of the inspiring experiences. We're proud to be introduced to some carefully curated new hotels in Denver, Glenwood Springs, Moab, and towns near the many national parks in Utah. Now, let me talk about the route. Now, our route will take you from Denver, Colorado to Moab, Utah. However, we will be operating both eastbound and westbound directions. But for today's presentation, I'm going to be reviewing just the westbound itinerary. So starting from Denver, you're going to be seeing these large mountain passes and dramatic canyons of Colorado. You'll then be overnighting in the resort town of Glenwood Springs, Colorado. Now, the following day, you're going to notice that the scenery is going to be changing dramatically as you start to see the rolling desert rock of Utah. Our trains pass through some really remote and sparsely populated landscapes. Many of these are not accessible by car, which makes these remarkable views from the train quite exclusive. Now, in addition to all of this, You will be traveling along the beautiful Colorado River about 60% of the journey. Now let's take a close look at the many highlights along this journey. So welcome to Denver, where it receives 300 days of sunshine a year. Now, many of you are very familiar with this big, beautiful city known as the Mile High City due to its high altitude. But let's explore some of Denver's highlights. Denver has a thriving cultural scene and really diverse neighborhoods. So I want to point out that you make sure that you visit the 16th Street Mall, which is located in downtown Denver. So this mile-long pedestrian-friendly mall is really packed with tons of shopping, restaurants, and attractions. Now, don't worry about having to walk the entire length because there is a free shuttle bus dubbed the Mall Ride that travels up and down the 16th Street Mall, stopping at every single corner. And speaking of restaurants, Denver has this reputation for fine dining and has been on the rise for over years thanks to the award-winning chefs who have a focus on locally sourced cuisine. And I must talk about Denver being home to amazing craft beers, as its nickname, the Napa Valley of craft beer. But do not worry, you wine lovers. Denver also has about a dozen wineries that serve and sell local Colorado wines. Now, Denver is also home to the amazing Denver Art Museum, which the locals call the Dam. It's one of the largest museums between the West Coast and Chicago. It's open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily, and it's home to modern, Western, and interactive art, which I could completely get into. So when you're ready to start the train trip of a lifetime, you're going to make the short walk over to the train station. Now, the train will depart at 9 a.m. We do not include transportation in Denver, as all of our hotels are within a 2 to 5 minute walk of the train station. But do not worry about carrying your bags, as with all of our routes, both here and in Canada, we take care of the transportation of your luggage. Hopefully you can see from the map, you are going to be enjoying just some amazing sights right from your seat on the train. So some of the highlights I want to point out are, first of all, Big Ten Curve. Big Ten Curve was built in the early 1900s and was coined as an engineering marvel. So it was built so the trains can slowly gain elevation before reaching the Continental Divide. Now, the name comes from the 10-degree of curvature of the rail line, and you'll actually be traveling on Big Ten Curve. Next is the Gross Reservoir Dam. Now, the reservoir has a surface area of 440 acres. It receives water from the western side of the Continental Divide through Moffett Tunnel. And then South Border Creek flows out of the 340-foot high dam. Now, next you'll be traveling through Moffett Tunnel. Now, Moffett Tunnel, which is about 6 miles long, connects the Denver area to Utah by tunneling underneath the Continental Divide. And the apex of the tunnel is over 9,000 feet above sea level. Now, along the entire route, there are lots of these striking canyons which offer this rugged scenery of that steep rock walls. And now many of these are not accessible by road. And it's the canyons that really offer opportunities to view the wildlife. And it's animals like bighorn sheep, mountain lions, coyotes, and those beautiful black bears. Gore Canyon, which is a steep and rugged canyon, it's approximately like 3 miles long. It is roadless, and it's not accessible by most traffic except for Rocky Mountaineer and boats. Now, Gore Canyon is also famous for its wild Class 5 whitewater rafting on the upper Colorado River, AKA it's really meant for experts. So more than likely, you're going to see some rafters on this really difficult rapid. Now, after passing Glenwood Canyon, which is the last canyon along this route, it's also quite stunning. You're going to arrive into Glenwood Springs around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So welcome everybody to the beautiful Glenwood Springs. It's an overnight stay as part of the rail route, and it's a resort town with plenty of shops and restaurants. Also, there are some amazing photograph opportunities of that beautiful surrounding mountain range. It's also known for its hot springs. So I say take a dip because they're opened until 10 o'clock in the evening. Now, the next morning, you're either going to be transferred or you can take a short walk to the train station. All of our hotels are within a 5-minute walk of the train station. Now, the train leaves at 7 a.m. I know some of you are like, well, that is really early. But I promise you, as soon as you get on the train, they'll make sure that you have coffee or tea in your hands. I'm a coffee drinker, very important to me. And then shortly thereafter, breakfast will be served, which will be a 2-course meal. Thereafter, everyone's going to have a toast celebrating that they just crossed over into Utah, followed by a light snack. And then you're going to arrive into Moab around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, which is why we leave so early out of Glenwood Springs, because we want to make sure that you have enough time to see all the amazing sights of Moab. So the awe-inspiring scenery now is going to continue as you make your way into Moab. So some of the highlights I want to point out is Parachute Creek. Parachute Creek is a 15-mile-long tributary of the Colorado River. And then there's Ruby Canyon. So this will be the last canyon that you'll see. It's a 25-mile canyon of the Colorado River. It gets its name from the red sandstone cliffs that line the canyon walls.
I might put it here. Or
I'm sorry,
get rid of that stuff.
Rhonda, I think we can hear you. So if you don't mind muting yourself, that would be great. So as I was saying, Ruby Canyon, it's a 25-mile canyon of the Colorado River. And it takes its name from the red sandstone cliffs that line the canyon walls. Now, this is another canyon that's only accessible by train. Then there is Mount Peel. Now, this is the highest point of the La Salle Mountains at almost 13,000 feet, which sits on the arid Colorado Plateau. Now, due to its immense height, usually there'll be snow on top of the mountains, which offers a great photo opportunity. Again, right from your seat on the train. And what I love about the La Salle mountain range is you see those snow-capped mountains in the back, but then you have these like unusual rock formations up in the forefront. I find it absolutely stunning. Now, all along the route, you're going to follow along the Book Cliffs. Now, this expands around 250 miles across Colorado and Utah. It is the longest continuous ridge in the entire world. Now, the Book Cliffs got their name for that unusual formation of the mountain range. And looking at this picture, doesn't it look like there's books stacked within a shelf? So the mountain that appears here, this is Mount Garfield. It is the largest mountain peak of the Book Cliffs. It can be seen from Rocky Mountaineer and was named after our previous president, Mr. James Garfield. So after the 5-hour ride, you're going to arrive into Moab again around 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We will provide a short shuttle ride. It's roughly about 20 minutes to your hotel, which will be located in downtown Moab. And along the way, this is where you'll have your view of Arches National Park. So welcome to Moab, everybody. It's known for those gorgeous, beautiful, unusual red rock formations and really being the gateway to the spectacular Arches and Canyonlands National Parks. The town of Moab also has some really unique shopping and activities. So I always recommend, because again, all of your hotels will be within walking distance, wander around the really quaint downtown area. There's a bunch of locally owned shops and restaurants, but also some incredible activities, like watching some unique performances in the Moab Backyard Theater, or see some amazing sound and light show by boat in the Canyonlands. Now, the Arches National Park is right next door, and it's home to more than 2,000 natural sandstone arches. I'm telling you, I could do a whole presentation just on the Arches National Park. So the picture that you see here is that massive red-hued delicate arch that's located in the east of the park. It's the most photographed and most widely recognized landmark, and it's also depicted on Utah's license plates. Now, the Needles form the southeast corner in the Canyonlands National Park, and they're named for those colorful spires of sandstone that dominate that entire area. Then there's Dead Horse Point. This is also nearby and features this dramatic overlook of the massive Canyonlands National Park, but also that beautiful Colorado River as well. We have partnered with some of the best land tour operators to really offer these wide variety of unforgettable activities. And, I not only encourage all of you, obviously, to experience the Southwest and our unique and luxurious Rocky Mountaineer train, but really to explore some of our country's amazing national parks as well. So we can include sightseeing to and from Salt Lake City or Las Vegas. And we have a few ways in which you can do your sightseeing. First is by motor coach. And our vacation packages that include sightseeing tours, they are guided, meaning that there's a driver and a local travel director who travel with you on a day-to-day basis, either from Moab, Utah, Salt Lake City, or Las Vegas. So some unique activities that we include are like taking a boat ride down the Colorado River or a four-wheel drive through Monument Valley with a local guide. But we also include many meals as well, such as having a home-cooked meal at Brigham Young's historical Lion House in Salt Lake City. So we have 12 vacation packages that are guided and include some or all of the Mighty Five national parks. So the one that I have highlighted here is our Rockies to the RedRocks at leisure. I point this out because I personally want to take this trip, but also it does visit all of the Mighty Five national parks. Plus, it includes an overnight stay in Lake Powell with the cruise, but it also visits the north rim of the Grand Canyon. And most people, when they visit the Grand Canyon, it's the southern rim. Not many people go up to the north rim, which I think makes it even more unique. And I think that if you've never visited any of the Mighty Five national parks or the parks out west, this would be a great trip for you to take. Now, we also have our self-drive program. So this is where your Covington Travel advisor would book the hotels and the rental car for you in advance. So here in the US, it will be an SUV, and then you explore at your leisure. Our self-drive packages do include national and state park passes. In addition, we'll give you an app in advance that you can download. So it'll give you full details of your trip, including maps, directions, tour, and different type of activity descriptions, which I think is fantastic. We have 4 self-drive packages to and from Salt Lake City or Las Vegas. I'm highlighting our Rockies to the RedRocks Discovery Self-Drive from Salt Lake City. I think this is perfect for those of you that either have limited time, but you want to experience our award-winning Rocky Mountaineer and visit some of our national parks. Or maybe for those of you who have already visited Bryce and Zion National Parks, but you didn't quite make it far east over to Moab, or really want to explore something new by traveling up to that great town of Salt Lake City. So now you can reserve your seats with peace of mind. And what I mean by that is that right now we're only requiring a $25 deposit to reserve your seat. This is fully refundable. On February the 2nd, we'll ask for a 20% deposit, but again, it is fully refundable for 60 days. At the point that it becomes non-refundable, we will give you 2 free date changes so that you can actually change your date up and into the 2023 season. And then we'll also give you 1 free name change as well. And you're like, okay, Stacy, wow, that is a lot of information. And this is where it really is beneficial for you to work with the Covington Travel Advisors. I have been working with them for years. They are just a wealth of knowledge. Several of the advisors have actually traveled with me on Rocky Mountaineer. They've all been trained by me personally. I think also just working with travel agencies, you know, they are just fantastic. And I think that not only can they help you with booking your Rocky Mountaineer vacation, but they can book your air, they can book your trip insurance as well. And I'm always a firm believer in making sure that you have that trip insurance. So with that, I want to thank you all for joining myself today. I have to say, I am beyond excited that we now have Rocky Mountaineer here in the United States. You know, we just celebrated our 30th anniversary. We've been doing this a long time. I've been on the train 6 different times. I've been out to the Canadian Rockies 8. I'm embarrassed to say I really haven't been out to our national parks, which is why I'm really looking forward to doing that at leisure. But last year is the first year that I wasn't able to travel on the train. I know that we all are kind of done with our house projects and we're all ready to get out there and start exploring again. So I hope to see you all on Rocky Mountaineer this year. So with that, Beverly. I don't know if she's back on, or maybe she's on mute, but I'll wrap it up. So in order to get a hold of Covington Travel, you can follow them on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. They have their website as well, which is covingtontravel.com. I would say if you are interested in traveling on our Rockies to the Red Rocks, especially if you're wanting to take advantage of our Silverleaf Plus, I would definitely take advantage of that $25 deposit. Their phone number is 804-747-7077. So again, thank you all so very much for listening to me today.